Hello everyone, welcome to the Wiggle Café. We are back and we are live and we have a very special guest today. So I hope you like our new home for Facebook Live. And let me introduce Nick Anderson. So Nick is here today to talk all things running, so do get your questions in. We'll also be offering a chance to win a Polar Vantage M watch, so stay tuned to find out how. But first, hi Nick.
Hi Nazarene, great to see you.
Great to see you.
Hi everybody.
So Nick, tell me a bit about your kind of running history, because I know you've done a lot of running in the past.
I have. I always get embarrassed. I started running when I was very young. I was kind of inspired by that co-cram and ovette era where we used to perhaps stop the 9 o'clock news and they'd be racing in Oslo or Zurich or whatever it was. I was about 8, 9, 10 years old. And that was fantastic. We all went to bed early then because the news was at 9, not at 10 o'clock. And I guess I've been running ever since. So 38 years of running competitively or trying to. Some good years as a junior and as a senior in my younger years. And I've been coaching now for, nearly 25 years. So it's been a long journey. And very busy with the coaching all of the time.
Yeah, cool. So what kinds of coaching do you do? Do you do like sort of pro level or?
Everybody, to be honest. I've been very fortunate over the years to be able to work with British athletics and England athletics, and in those areas I've been head coach for 5k, 10k cross country for a period. These days I'm looking after the national marathon program and sort of national marathon squad and some road running. I do a lot of endurance work and coaching for England athletics as well, but I've got a business called Running With Us, and we've been super busy over the last 7 or 8 years, and we work with 17 of the well-known charities. We work with Just Giving, and we work with a number of well-known brands. And obviously we work with Polar, and it's fantastic to be their sort of coaches and part of their coaching team.
Yeah.
So I always say probably 3 or 4% of our time is spent working with, I guess, the speedy pro-type athletes, but 95% of our time is spent working with real runners, people that have got jobs, families, who want to be better.
Super. So I'm just turning my laptop on now because we're having a slight technical issue.
Okay.
Are you running a marathon, or have you got any other sort of running plans coming up?
Life is a marathon. No, I'm not. I paced my girlfriend Tamsin before Christmas when she did the Frankfurt Marathon, and that was great fun. But I'm not. I'm really busy, and so am my team, with all the coaching and all the work we do, really with everybody who's running spring marathons at the moment and other events. So by the time we get to the end of April, when the big marathons are done, I think for us it's a chance to find somewhere quiet and recover. But I'm out running most days, obviously, out on the bike as well, and being fit and healthy is a really important thing.
Yeah.
So every day we're out there doing it.
Super. Well, I can see some comments coming in. Thank you, Josh, for helping me out with that. But I've had a couple of questions first of all, just prior to the show as well, I'd like to ask. So David Townend, I don't know if if you're watching right now. You said you were going to set a reminder, so say hi if you're out there. You wanted to know what the best way to fuel for a half marathon was, and I know that a lot of people have a lot of different ways to do it, different preferences. A lot of people have said like porridge or gels. What would you say is the best way to fuel?
The way that works for you. I've already seen a few notes for this particular thread and question. And David, hi. I have to say to you that go out and with some of your long runs, try and run them at a similar time to the time that the race will take place. So I'm assuming it'd be 9:30 or 10 o'clock in the morning. Get up 2 or 3 hours before and actually have a breakfast which feels comfortable. Perhaps you graze on it rather than eating it all quickly as well. So graze on it for half an hour to an hour, because that will probably mean that you'll absorb more of the complex carbohydrate. And it's actually complex carbohydrate that's going to form the basis of that real sort of breakfast anyway. So yes, porridge could work, and I know a lot of people talk about it, but you might be looking at another kind of cereal. perhaps a banana. You might be looking at bagels, perhaps whole grain. Or if you're one of these people that gets a little bit of an upset tummy sometimes when you run and you need to visit the loo, then maybe go for slightly more bland carbohydrates, something that's going to just settle in the stomach a little bit easy. But the real thing is eat well in the days leading up to your long runs and before the half marathon anyway, so you're constantly fueled, you're never hungry, you're snacking well as well, and then that breakfast is that final window to give you a bit of carbohydrate or glycogen, and that will see you through the 13.1 miles really well. Perhaps we've taken a gel every half hour to 45 minutes if you've practiced with them in training, or some sports drink, but you know the gels work really well, but a good breakfast and grazing up until maybe even an hour before the start would be wise.
Good tips then. Great. So one of the things that you were going to tell us about a little bit was the Polar Vantage watch, and that can actually help as well with your training, and we're going to be giving one of those away, so do stay tuned for that. But can you just tell us about how the Vantage watch, we've got the Vantage V and the Vantage M, and we'll be giving away a Vantage M today, how that can help?
Polar have always been the pioneers really of heart rate. They were the first brand really to bring heart rate training to the masses, and to actually look at the sports science and say, okay, we want to measure the performance of the heart and the performance of data, and really see if that can impact on your performance and your metrics to improve. I wore Polar devices in the late 80s and 90s myself to train, and Polar looked after me and it was great. I would say that the difference now with the technology that's out, and certainly with the Vantage V, is that everything's on the wrist, so your heart rate is very accurate and from the wrist. And you can now crucially also measure power. So you've probably heard of power in your cycling, measuring watts. Well, actually now, and this is a metric that's not been widely available, now you can measure power through your running from the wrist with the Polar Vantage V. It's got to 40 hours battery life as well, with everything running at that time. So that's a really long battery life, particularly if you're somebody that either forgets to charge your devices regularly.
That's me.
Yeah, or gets to the track, or opens your bag and thinks, oh gosh, look, the battery's gone. Or you're doing ultras, which is obviously a very popular area of the sport these days. The Vantage M, which I think is the prize you've got and you're giving away here, fantastic bit of kit as well. That works with a third-party device to give you the power, but it's still watts and a really good power source of data. The heart rate is fantastic on it as well. And I've got to say to you, if you're really interested in your training and you want to use the 30 hours of battery life that's on the M product, then the Polar products, because of the science that goes into it and the way that they want to look after the consumer in terms of recovery, in terms of the analytics you can get from Polar Flow, in terms of recording your data, I think it can really take your training forwards. That's why as a coach, I work with Polar, and many of the world's best physiologists work with Polar as well, because of that level of data that you can then start to use to improve your training.
Super. So we have a game for you, and got a new look Wiggle Café, and we've got a new game, and this is going to be our competition, so listen up to the rules. What we're going to ask Nick to do is, we've got a lovely big jug of ping pong balls here in lovely Wiggle Orange.
The mind boggles.
Yeah. Right, so we have a cup over there, and we're going to ask Nick if he can bounce one of these ping pong balls off the table into the cup. So he will have 3 minutes to do it. He only has to do it once. If he doesn't do it in 3 minutes, he gets a DNF.
DNF.
Yeah. So
it's been many years since one of them.
Yeah. So don't make today your
Okay.
first one. Yeah. So what we're asking you is how long in minutes and seconds it's going to take Nick to get one of these ping pong balls, bounce it off the table into the cup. Okay?
I'm not competitive, but this is actually quite hard.
Yeah.
And when you said there was a challenge, I thought I'd be driving a car around the car park really fast, but no, it's ping pong balls. Okay.
So, Nick, we're going to do that a bit later on.
Okay.
So that people have a chance to get their guesses in. Do get your guesses in the comments below. and we'll be playing that game in a bit, but we'll be asking Nick some more questions in the meantime. But just to recap, he needs to bounce one of these ping pong balls off the table into the cup, and you need to tell me how long in minutes and seconds it's going to take him to do that. If it's 3 minutes or over, it's a DNF. We're cutting it off then, because we don't want to sit here all day. So
no pressure.
I'm sure it won't come to that. Get your comments in below. You have one guess. Can't have any more than one guess, and we will know if you have more than one guess. I promise you that, and you will be DQ'd. If nobody gets the right answer, then we'll go for the guess, the closest guess. Okay? So I will be looking forward to seeing your comments on that. So keep your questions coming in. Now we have another one from Michael Regan, and he's actually watching now. He asked this earlier, so I'm just coming back to you, Michael, because I said I would. Now he's got a really crazy challenge coming up. It's running 24 hours, like 24 hours non-stop. He wants to get 100 miles in the bag in 24 hours. So he's only ever, like, his biggest run has been 40 miles.
Okay.
He's managed to do 33.75 in 6 hours. What do you think you should do to prepare for that?
Wow, okay. Well, Michael, hi. I would say to you that there's a number of things you've got to really look at here with your training and what you're doing. Learning to run very slowly and learning to move and keep moving very slowly for long periods of time actually requires you to become very good at working with stored fats and working at low intensities in your training. Probably, if you're looking at heart rate, so you're looking at working with your heart rate device, you would probably be looking to work closer to 60% of maximum heart rate than you ever would be 70. You're not going to burn carbohydrates efficiently. Well, you will burn them efficiently if you try and run faster, but the problem is that's not going to help you in 24 hours. So think about lots of long, slow running. Think about runs before breakfast where you're fasted. Think about sometimes going out for runs, which can be a little bit controversial, but actually going out for runs as well when you are carbohydrate low, even if it's later in the day, so that you actually force your body to get used to working off stored fats. You will, however, need to do some what I call running economy work, so going out and doing some threshold running or some marathon pace type work as well, just to make the heart so much stronger, because that will give you a better stroke volume with the heart and will enable you to actually run for longer in itself as well. So it's a transition really between working slowly with stored fats but doing some threshold or marathon pace type work for running economy work. I would be putting in some hills, but some long hills, continuous hills, and also maybe some of these what we call continuous hills or Kenyan hills, where you're going up and down the hill at threshold intensity or even slightly less than threshold for about a minute to a minute and a half up, turn, minute to minute and a half down, and continuous. So it's threshold up and down, blocks of 3-4 times 10 minutes of that. And as you build over the months with that, it's going to give you a massive amount of strength in the legs, and just that in itself is going to help. But your fueling strategy is crucial. You're going to need to learn to run for windows of time, taking on fuel, stopping, taking on more fuel, and then moving again. You're going to need to strategize in mini breaks into that 24 hours. I coached a guy called Robbie Britton, who's a well-known ultra runner, and he finished third in the World 24-Hour Championships. And when we did it, his fueling was very good. He's even better at that now. And we actually split our long runs some days as well. So he would sometimes on a Saturday night do a long run of 2 to 3 hours very slowly. Sunday morning, having been to bed and refueled and slept, he would go out and do another long run before breakfast very slowly and fasted. He would take on fuel during the run, but he would start it without breakfast. He would then come back from that long run of maybe 3 hours or 4 hours at the most, have some breakfast, and then eat really well, have a sleep, and then later in the afternoon he'd run again. And when you actually looked at it, because that final run would be about 90 minutes to 2 hours with some things built into it like marathon pace, when you added it all together in a 24-hour period, he'd run 3 times and probably run for 6, 7, 8 hours, but split it into chunks. And that actually worked very well in terms of not making him overtired in training. The big mistake people make is they run for 9, 10, 11, 12 hours in training, which they never recover from, and then because of that, they get overtired when it actually comes to the event itself. So be careful you don't overtrain and run too far just because you're doing a 100-mile challenge. Okay, teach the body to do it progressively.
Look after yourself, okay.
That's a big challenge, and good luck. I'm sure you can do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it, not me. So Neil Ross, hello Neil. So Neil has a niggly ankle injury that's shortening how long he can run or jog for. So is there some sort of support you would recommend, or would you recommend?
Well, it's always hard online, isn't it, without seeing someone in front of you. And although I've got some sports injuries qualifications, I would still be saying to Neil, do you know what, if it's already impacting on the amount of training you can do, and it sounds as though it is, please go and see a good running sports physiotherapist, somebody that knows what they're doing, is used to seeing runners. Let's get a diagnosis, let's find out what the problem is, and then work from there, rather than hoping nature's going to do it for you, or throw in different things at it because there's product out there. Yes, taping's going to help it. I'm sure, yes, getting some treatments, some foam rolling to make sure the calves are, really loose, break down all these knots and adhesions in the muscles. Do have a biomechanical analysis, make sure your shoes are the right type of shoes for you, either enough support, the right amount of cushioning, they're a good fit. And just make sure the gear you're wearing is really good. Have a look at your training, because make sure you haven't been going too much, too soon, too far, too often as well. So you may need to go and cross-train for a week here. You won't lose any fitness. The heart doesn't know any difference between being on a bike or going for a run. So go and cross-train, but go and see a specialist and get this sorted so that you can enjoy your running and build up again very soon. All right? Don't just let nature do it, because it probably won't give you the answer you want. You need to do something constructive.
Well, we hope you get better, Neil, and you get back to running pretty soon. A question that I had from Samantha Bolter, which is kind of probably quite pertinent to a lot of people. She goes running in the mornings, and she does a desk job. Yeah. So she often does her run in the mornings and feels like a bit of tightness. What should she be doing to avoid that, or to stop that from happening?
Okay, so it's Sarah or Samantha?
Samantha.
Samantha, hi. Great question, and well done for running in the morning before work. I have to say that there are 2 5 o'clocks in the day. Do set your alarm clock, get out early and run. It's a fantastic thing, and a good thing is, Samantha, that you can sit at that desk during the day, that ready breath glow around you, and you can sort of almost boast in front of some of your colleagues that you've been out and trained already. And then you haven't got that horrible moment later in the day as well, where others are feeling tired and starting to put off their evening session, but you're not, because you've already been out and done it. So well done. The thing is, though, with these morning runs, you've got to come back straight away and fuel, because your body's really hungry, your immune system's really low when you come back from a morning training session. Of course, you're going to go to work, which means you're actually more prone to illness, which is a real shame, because you've been out and done something healthy. So eat really well when you come back from your run, and keep grazing. And if you can, find 10 minutes to go through some key stretches and have a good stretching and mobilisation routine. If you go on the runningwithus.com website, you'll see loads of great stretches on there. But you need to do something that's going to keep you mobile. And then during the day, just don't sit around all day if you can avoid it. Get up and every 20 minutes, half hour, walk around for a bit, do a couple of mobilisation drills or whatever while you're chatting to someone. I know it seems weird, but don't worry, just keep moving and stretching out these parts. There are a load of stretches you can do even while you're sitting down. So look them up online. You can certainly stretch out the piriformis, the lower back, and the hamstrings even while you're sitting in the chair. It's all possible. So keep moving and keep training. Well done. Well done.
So you've got an excuse to have quite a nice breakfast every day, I guess.
Indeed, and come back but vary your breakfast as well. Don't be one of these people that always has toast and jam and a banana or the same yogurt every day. If you can sort of vary your breakfast and try never to eat the same thing more than a couple of days in a row, actually the nutrients and the value from the nutrients will be so much better for your body then. So do make a bit of time for those trendy breakfasts. I don't know, scrambled eggs and toast on bagels and maybe some smoked salmon, all the sort of things you probably have at the weekend when you've got more time. Your body needs it during the week when you're training in the morning as well. So don't miss out on quality protein and quality carbohydrate. Yeah,
good stuff. That variety thing you were talking about, I've actually got a question that's tenuously related to that, so we'll go with that one next. We've got Dan Braddock. Hello, Dan. So he's actually running the same course every week, and this is probably the same for a lot of people. He's got a park run at Telford. that he runs every single week, and he's just wondering, should he be mixing up the courses a bit? There's actually someone in the office that could tell you a lot about parkrun, because she's doing the A to Z of parkrun.
Right.
So
Okay,
she's doing all of the parkruns for every letter of the alphabet. But should Dan be kind of broadening his horizons and doing?
In short, yes. Parkrun is a fantastic thing. Nick Pearson, who's the CEO of Parkrun these days, is one of my old training partners from years ago when I raced, and he's a great guy. And I think Parkrun, and what Paul Sinton Hewitt have done and the team is incredible. 250,000 people run at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning in the UK or somewhere in the world. It's just incredible. But if you do a 5k hard at 9 o'clock every Saturday morning, I don't think you're going to improve every Saturday. There comes a point where you're going to plateau. You'll initially get quicker in the early weeks, but you're going to plateau. And you need to think about, if I want to run faster for my 5k, well, actually I'd be better to do my park runs in a different way sometimes and only do a fast one perhaps once a month. So at the moment people are training for half marathons and marathons. Why not run a half marathon pace and make the park run part of your long run? The same for your marathon. Make the park run the last part of your long run sometimes and run it at marathon pace. It's a great way of doing it. But go to different locations as well. Become I don't know what they call it, a park run traveller or I think they call it. But go and do some different ones, because the courses are different. The people you meet are obviously different, which is that community sense. And just go and visit and do other things. But try not to always, in training in general, run the same routes anyway, because it becomes boring. I think you also run into that trap of checking exactly where you are on your device compared to where you normally are on that route at a certain time. So you end up not running sensibly. You end up not doing easy runs, not doing steady runs, not doing marathon pace work, threshold work, and even faster high intensity work. All of your runs become the same because you run the same route and you try and do it in the same time to check you're okay. So variety is the key in terms of training zones, and I think variety is really good for inspiration in terms of routes as well. So mix it up.
We've got a parkrun tourist out there. Hello, Kate.
That's what it is, parkrun tourist. Yeah,
she's put us right as parkrun tourist.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Kate. We've got Stuart McDonald sitting in a nice wet and drizzly Bristol. He's kind of not run for years, and he said he's overweight, so he needs some help kind of getting back into running, getting back into fitness. What would you recommend for somebody like Stuart, because I'm sure he's not alone? No, he's not. It's definitely not. And actually the topic we've just been talking about there, which is park runs, could be, Stuart, a great way for you to start to get to know other runners and actually get involved in running in a way that's really friendly and develops a bit of a community for you. Looking out the window today, it is really wet and awful, but your skin's waterproof. Wiggles sell fantastic clothing for this kind of weather, so there's no such thing as really bad weather in running. You can run in pretty much all conditions. It's just a case of having the right gear. The hardest thing, really, Stuart, is the first few runs, the first few steps, and I would go and actually join a beginners running group. If you go on the England Athletics website, you'll see loads of local running clubs and beginners running groups, and they will help you. Even some of your running stores will have that. Some of your gyms will have beginners run groups. So have a look in Bristol. It's a bit of a hotbed of running in Bristol. There's loads of places. If you go to Bristol Athletics Club, Bristol and West, they've got loads of programs there to help people as well. But whatever you do in those first few steps, when you go out the front door, have the right gear on and start super slowly. You haven't got to even run. Maybe you go out and you walk briskly for a minute, then you jog very gently for 30 seconds, okay? And before you get tired, you stop. So you can always, even when you're jogging, still hold a conversation. If you can't run at the speed of chat, you're running too hard in the early weeks. And maybe after 30 seconds, go back to that brisk walk and then do another minute of brisk walking before you do 30 seconds of gentle running again. And make yourself do perhaps 10 to 20 minutes of achievable walk running rather than trying to run a long way straight away, which would be impossible and all of us would find really hard. We all started somewhere and it was always tough for everyone, but those first runs are important. Over the weeks, you'll gradually do less walking and perhaps more of the running, and you'll notice you can do more continuous running.
And perhaps after a few weeks or 5 to 6 weeks, you'll be ready to do your first walk, run, or even run the whole of the way around your first park run. So set yourself a challenge perhaps in a couple of months' time to do your first park run, or sooner, because there's plenty of people that would help you.
Yeah, there you go. Park runs are so much fun as well.
Yeah, you can do it.
So many
You can
people
do it.
and
I would just say as well, Stuart, think about as well the training zone and the effort you're on. You don't want your heart rate to be too high. So, think about the sort of devices that Polar do and that kind of heart rate technology with the GPS, with the stopwatch in the early weeks is going to give you some extra motivation, and you can then track on Polar Flow your running improving and your fitness improving, and you'll see your resting heart rates dropping as you're getting healthier and fitter, and you'll see your speeds going up and your ability to hold heart rates change. And this is really where the technology can help you in those early days as well. It's inspiring. It's a way of tracking your improvement and even sharing it with everyone as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't become one of those Strava oversharers though.
It doesn't matter. Strava, whatever it is. But yeah, people will help you. There's a whole community that want to talk to you about it. So you're not alone, Stuart. That's the thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking about heart rate, we are actually giving you the chance today to win a Polar Vantage M as well. So keep the questions coming in for Nick, because we're actually really enjoying hearing about all of you and where you are in your running journey. Later on in the show, we're going to be giving Nick a challenge. So he's a runner, but is he any good at aiming a ping pong ball into a cup? We'll see. This is our new game. We're going to be doing it with our guests on the show every week. So Nick's time is the time to beat. So we're going to ask him if he can bounce the ping pong ball off the table into a cup. We'll give him 3 minutes to do it once. You need to tell us how long it's going to take him in minutes and seconds. So the highest it can be is 3 minutes. Otherwise, he gets a DNF. So your guess could be DNF. The closest one to his time will win a Polar Vantage M, which is a super duper watch. So I'll be quite jealous of you if you win. If we have a tie, we'll kind of choose one at random. Hopefully we won't have a tie. So get your guesses coming in. If you've been seeing those little times coming up on the comments, that's what it's for. So any time, minutes and seconds between 0 and 3 minutes, or you can have a DNF if you want to. How long will it take to get one of these balls into the cup? And he has to bounce it off the table. He can't just throw it.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. I've done it and it took me a little while. So so just going back to our questions. Now we've actually had a very familiar face tuning in, Ben Barham. I hope I'm saying that right, Ben. He's actually a friend of Wiggle, so we're following Ben's challenges at the moment. We've been following some of our customers in the challenges that they're taking up this year. Ben's got some insane ones. He's mainly a cyclist. He's doing 3 different events. 2 of them are sort of multi-day kind of cycling tours, and he's doing them in the space of 2 weeks. Ben, you can probably correct me on that. But yeah, he wants to go and get into a little bit of running as well. He's just announced, didn't know that, but can we talk about that? If a cyclist does want to kind of train and get into a bit of running.
Well, in theory, it would be great for you. It could benefit your cycling a little bit in terms of cardiovascular response. The only thing you've got to remember is you've been used to sitting down and working, so there's no impact, and you need to be very careful as you build up your running training that the body adapts to 3, 4, 5 times your body weight as you hit the ground coming up. So there's muscles that are going to be challenged here in a very different way. You will notice completely different range of soreness and stiffness compared to what you have on the bike having been for a run. So in the early days of going for a run, do build up very carefully. I'd even go and run on grass or trails or softer surfaces to start with, and then move across to the road or limit the amount. Don't do too much, too far, too soon, too often. If you're using data on your bike in terms of the metrics for power, heart rate, timing and GPS, well, of course you can do that in running as well, certainly with the Polar M and Polar V. So you could be transferring that data across, and you can then start to track your improvement in the running. But a little bit, and maybe every other day or just a few times a week would be good to see the fitness build for your running. It's very compatible with cycling if you really enjoy your cycling. And actually, a lot of top runners are now cross-training and using cycling and swimming in particular as ways to boost their training without having the impact of running so much. So cross-training and mixing it up is very much the big way forward. And a lot of very good British athletes are now cross-training a lot more than they ever did before.
Yeah.
So it works, and I'd really recommend it.
Yeah, very good.
Good luck.
Yeah, so just talking about like cycling, swimming, running, we've got a triathlete here, Oliver Martinson.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hi Oliver.
Hi Oliver.
Thank you for joining us. He is very new to triathlon. He's running 33-minute 10k. He wants to know the best plan to progress into half Ironman, or is it too soon to start looking that way?
Well, it's not, no, and I have to say 33 minutes is a good time, Oliver, for a 10k runner. You're knocking on the door there of being one of the better club runners and almost semi-elite, but certainly one of the better club runners with 33 minutes for 10k, so you're clearly in very good shape.
Yeah.
You're going to have to get used to running for 13.1 miles, having been a long way on the bike and having been for a long swim, and that is very different. You're going to have to teach your body to spread its energy window and get used to working for a lot longer, because 10k is very much high intensity, working aerobically into anaerobically and burning carbohydrate and sugars, whereas you're going to have to get used to working stored fats as well as carbohydrate. You're going to have to learn to be strong in the water and strong on the bike. A lot of runners convert very well into pretty good cyclists, actually, certainly from the work we've done and with people we know. The issue is often harder. It's harder for them with the swimming, and if you swum a lot when you were younger, that's great, but I would really go and speak to some of the guys out there that are very good swim coaches and get your swimming sorted, really get a good technique and spend time building that swimming, as well as working hard on the bike and investing and building the bike miles and really the strength on the bike, so your power output on the bike at the same time, and understanding that and time in the saddle, as well as some very clever sessions, but learn to swim really well whilst keeping your running going. It sounds obvious.
I'll learn to swim if you can't.
Yeah, learn to swim if you can't, definitely. But from running to swimming is a much harder one for most runners to convert to. So go and get some great. There's people like Richard Stannard you might want to look up, Swim for Try and so on that are out there. There's loads of different coaches out there that would really help you with that transition if you're very keen. Yeah. Email us if you're not sure. We can put you in touch with some good people.
There you go. Yeah. Or leave a comment below and we can get back to you. That's absolutely fine. Okay, Oliver, good luck with your training for that half Ironman. I hope it goes well for you. You certainly sound like you've got the running nailed down, that's for sure. So we've got somebody who's kind of looking to know their pace for longer runs. So it's an Andrew Through. Hi, Andrew. So he's running we've got some really good runners out there. He's running a 19-minute 5k, so that's a 6-minute mile pace. So he wants to know the pace for longer runs. Now you haven't said, Andrew, what you mean by a longer run, so I don't know whether you want to kind of talk about 10k or half marathon.
Yeah, okay. I think I know where Andrew's coming at. Hi, Andrew, well done. If you want to improve your time, Andrew, or anybody really, from 5k up to the marathon, and maybe even longer, but certainly 5k to marathon, there's several things you want to be getting right. And one is you want to be making sure your long runs are specific and build cleverly towards the main goals you've got. So if you're going to stick at 5Ks, probably a 90-minute long run most weeks, if you're competitive like you are, Andrew, and running under 20 minutes is going to be enough. If you're going to train for 10k half marathon, those long runs will build up, and you'll probably build them by 10 minutes at a time each week. But every third or fourth week, I'd have an easier week, a cutback week, a regeneration week where you still train, but you don't run as far on your long run. Okay. If you're going to train for a half marathon, the last 6 to 8 weeks of that half marathon or the marathon, put in some blocks in your long run of half marathon pace practice or marathon pace practice. So for those people training for a marathon at the moment, if you're training for London or Brighton, whatever it's going to be, you might be sort of 10, 12 weeks away. You might be up to 2 hours or over 2 hours with your long run. I would hope very soon you're starting to put in things like 3 times 5k or 3 times 15 to 20 minutes of planned marathon pace built into that long run, because crucially your long runs, whether you're training for 5k or the marathon, most of the time should be much slower than your race pace is, much slower. So if you normally go out and run at let's say in a half marathon or a marathon, you go out and run at 7, 8, 9 minute miles, your long run should be probably 30, 45, 60 seconds or more slower per mile than your normal race pace you're training for. Okay. And the reason for that is you want time on the feet, you want to build more red blood cells, you want more capillarization into the muscles, you want to improve the strength and the output of the mitochondria, and that actually comes from lots of easy pace slow running, and then you make your long runs faster in the key 8 to 10 weeks. So again, bringing it back to polo, this is why you want to look at your paces, look at your heart rates, and check you're training in the right zones in your training, so that your training is more specific for you. Yeah. Even if you're tuning into this and you're running, or you're aiming for a 5-6 hour marathon, and you're thinking, God, this all sounds very scientific. It's not. Your long runs towards your 5 hour marathon at the moment should probably be slower than 5 hour pace. But in the next 6, 7, 8 weeks, some of your long runs, perhaps the second half of the long runs or blocks of it, should be run at your 5 hour marathon pace, so you practice that pace and you get used to what it feels like. So you need technology to help you with that.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Right, and the pros will do that, but it's actually the same for everybody.
Yeah, I guess you need to see the numbers to know where you are and how you're progressing.
Completely. And the metrics thing. And the other thing on that, just quickly, is as your long runs are getting harder or longer, or you're putting things into them, you need more time to recover. So check your recovery status. Have a look at how well you're sleeping. Check your sleep data. Maybe have a look at your resting heart rate each morning or overnight. And you don't have to stick to your weekly routine, maybe of a long run Sunday, harder training session Tuesday, so on. Maybe you'll start to have more space between your longer run and the next time you run hard, because your body will take longer to recover. So use your recovery data to decide when you next train hard. Be a little bit scientific, because your body is not a calendar. Your body is a living organism that needs time to recover and repair itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I like the recovery bit.
It's important, really important.
Wendy Thomas. So Wendy is doing the Half Lakesman in June. I don't know what that is. I'm assuming it's a half marathon.
Okay.
She's, let us know, Wendy. She's a cyclist. She's run 3 half marathons all around the 2 hour mark, and she's done a little swimming. So I'm guessing it's a half Ironman, maybe? Let us know, Wendy. What are you talking about? Would you suggest entertaining any entering any sprint triathlons before the event, or just carry on with the 3 separate disciplines at individual events?
Gosh, really good point. No, I would do 1 or 2 sprint triathlons on the basis that is brilliant for practicing your transition.
Thanks, Will, by the way. Will
it's a
just
half
said
Ironman.
it's a half
Ironman, I think. Yeah. Sorry, I should have said. So yeah, Will, thank you. The key here is those sprint triathlons will actually, I think, give you almost the perfect race practice if you put them in strategically into your plan. They're almost like brick sessions, which triathletes need in terms of getting off the bike and then running. But you'll get a similar response with the swimming. So maybe a few weeks before or a couple of weeks before, do a sprint triathlon. That gives you enough time to recover from it. Maybe you could do that 5-6 weeks before as well. So a couple of them, I think, could be very good if they're strategically placed. You could even look to do an Olympic distance triathlon a number of weeks before, because it is ultimately a form of training session towards what you're going to do. But do get used to as well getting off your bike and putting in some running. So getting off the turbo trainer or getting off the bike, and even if you only run a mile or 2, just to get the legs used to what it feels like, that can be useful. But of course there are some excellent brick sessions you can do. Having said that, I think people can worry about brick sessions far too much, and there is no substitute to cycling in the right zones and working on your power and heart rate, and actually doing some really good tempo riding and understanding where that fits for you. and there's no substitute for doing some really good threshold running and some clever long runs, which may be very separate to putting all of these components together. You only put the components together every now and then, not all the time. I think some triathletes are very guilty of doing too many brick sessions and actually getting overtired, in my opinion.
So again, it comes back to recovery as well.
Recovery is the king, and you do the quality, and the nearer you get to the event, like all things, it becomes more specific and you start to put more things in which will actually recreate parts of the event you're doing. So that's when the brick sessions or the sprint try would go in, nearer the event.
Debbie Morris, hi Debbie Morris. Debbie wants to know how to make the first 6 miles of a marathon more enjoyable.
First 6 miles? Most people worry about the last 6 miles. Are we sure,
I've
Debbie?
never done a marathon. It doesn't look enjoyable to me at all. What can you do?
Do you know what? I'm going to be tough on you here. I'm going to say, Debbie, the first 20 miles of the marathon are just... Greta Weitz won New York, I think it was 9 times. Phenomenal female athlete. And she coined this phrase that the first 20 miles in a marathon are just transport. Everything else really doesn't matter at that point. You get to 20 miles and then the marathon begins. So really the first 6 miles, I don't know which marathon you're doing. If you're doing London, the first 6 miles is all about just holding back, letting the body gradually warm up and actually gradually finding your pace and working in the right effort for you. Chat to people around you, but be totally in control. London, Brighton are all slightly downhill in those early miles. So really hold back and save energy. Don't be ahead of your predicted time. If you're ahead, there's a danger that you're burning carbohydrate too quickly and you'll feel great, but around about 16 to 22, 23 miles, suddenly it can all change and you get very tired and you hit that wall, you start to fade. So early miles are just about warming up and just gradually getting into your pace and just ticking them off. Be patient.
Yeah, Debbie's actually corrected herself here.
She meant the last 6 miles.
She meant the last 6
miles. Okay, good. Thank you, Debbie.
Yeah.
Last 6 miles is totally different. All right, you've got to, when you get to 20 miles in a marathon, there's several things I think you've got to do. First of all, make sure throughout the race you were taking your gels or whatever it is you take regularly, and that was all organised. Make sure you've been on the pace and not ahead of it. You obviously had a good breakfast and you've done your long runs in training. So you've got to believe really in your long runs you did in training. It's time now to remember perhaps the best 2 or 3 long runs you did and use those. I would also, in the last 6 miles, I say this to a lot of people, particularly with our runners we meet on the charity training days, remember why you're running and in particular now start to perhaps dedicate each mile to somebody special in your life. You won't let them down in that mile and it becomes really important to you get that mile right for them. And perhaps you only then focus on the mile you're in as well. Don't think about mile 24 when you're in mile 20. Get mile 20 done and focus only on that. Tick it off, get it right, move on to the next mile, and then move on to the next one. And keep all of those things going. Remember one other thing, whether you're at the back, the front, the middle, wherever it is in the race, you're in a foot race. So focus on the person in front of you and gradually try to work towards them in the last 6 miles, then the next person, then the next person, and actually enjoy the experience of being in that mini race and being a little bit competitive with yourself because it distracts you from everything that's going on. But do enjoy everyone shouting at you and enjoy the moment because it is totally inspirational. Last 6 miles is where the marathon is done, and that's where you become a marathon runner, so you can do it.
Yeah. So Debbie, good luck. I'm sure you'll be awesome.
You'll be great.
You'll have a great time. Everyone I know who's done a marathon has just talked about the atmosphere, crowd getting them through.
Completely.
It's going to be fine.
And that will give you extra miles in a day. So don't make your long runs too long. Just because you're worried about doing 26 miles. You know, you'll find those extra miles in a day. I absolutely promise you.
Paul Simons is a 54-year-old postie.
I know Paul.
Oh, okay.
Hello, Paul.
Hi.
Good runner. Former Shaftesbury and Barnet runner, and I think he's really into his running. Actually, I think he was once the fastest Father Christmas, I think, in the world. I think he's got the world record in fancy dress for the London or for the marathon. Dressed as Father Christmas or something like that. Yeah. Or maybe as a postman, Paul. Can't remember, but whatever it is.
Yeah, he would have just had to wear his work outfit, right?
I don't know, but he's a very fit guy.
Yeah.
Paces a lot of races. A good pacer.
So he's walking at a good speed, anything between 10 and 15 miles a day. And he's struggling to do 3 quality sessions in a week. So he's looking to do maybe 2. What would be most beneficial if you? And this is probably a lot of people.
It's
out there, 'cause
really
everyone
classic,
has lives.
yeah.
Yeah. If you've only got 2 training opportunities a week, what do you do?
Do you know what, this is great as well, what Paul has said, because there's several things. Paul kind of defies age. I mean, he's in his mid-50s and he's super fit. But Paul, listen, mate, you need to just accept that you don't recover as well now as you did when you were in your 20s. You're a bit older. And I think you've got to step back from doing 3 quality sessions a week to only probably doing 1, maybe 2 at the most, but maybe only 1 quality session a week. And the rest of the running you do is going to be in the correct heart rate training zones. It's going to be nice and controlled, and then you do your long run. And actually your recovery for Paul is more important than trying to do all the extra training, because Paul's got a really active job, he's busy on his feet, and the danger is just because he gets up at probably 3 or 4 in the morning, he's then walking for miles and miles and then going for a run, which is really admirable. If you think about it, his recovery is actually reduced all of the time. Now, he needs to probably do less quality sessions in the week and make sure he recovers, so that the quality sessions he does do are actually far better and more achievable, and his body adapts afterwards and then makes the fitness gain. So if I was you, Paul, and I know you well, I would reduce or take away one of those quality sessions and focus more on easy running and rest and getting your nutrition right and catching up on sleep, because that will probably have a far greater impact on you running well, I think, than trying to do the extra training. And I guess a mistake a lot of people make, they're busy at work, the schedule says 5 runs a week, or it says 3 hard runs within the 5, or whatever it is, but actually they never recover. So check your data, see if your heart rate's dropping, see if you've been sleeping well, see if your recovery status is really good, and then by looking at your Polar Flow and all of the running indexes that are available with Polar and with other devices, you can start to track really well whether you're ready to do the next hard session or not. Listen to what this is telling you, it never lies. This is why heart rate training is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know that you'll be fine, Paul, because
you will, Paul.
He's corrected you. He said he's got 2 world records.
2, okay.
2 world records. Wow. Yeah, you'll be fine, Paul. Absolutely. Good luck with that. Okay, so we'll be doing our competition very soon. So talking about the Polar watches, we've got a fantastic prize for you. We've got a Polar Vantage M to give away, which is a fantastic multi-sport watch. So it's not just for runners; it does all sorts of things. I mean, how many? You told me how many sports it has on. Like,
oh gosh, you're going to catch me out now.
Yeah,
I can't remember. There's more than 20. It's infinite. I mean, you can go on different bits of kit in the gym, and it's all geared up.
That many.
I flick through actually to discover new sports on it. So it's an incredible bit of kit. So it's very good. I think somebody's told me before, I think it's more than 70, it could be 80 to 90 different profiles that you could set it to which relate to the sports that you're using, so it's phenomenal. Super. Gav has actually just looked that up. It's got more than 90. More than 90? Gosh, it's even more than I thought. Okay.
Yeah, so
I can't think of 90 sports.
I can't name 90, no. So yeah, it's such a cool device because it's got like all of the stats you need really, and it actually it actively kind of tells you about your recovery, and it tells you about like your freshness for the next session. Completely, because it's an activity tracker as well. So it will give you the data you need to check your training's really working. If you want to be a better athlete, you need some data. So it will give you all of that. Yeah. So you can win one. So in a bit, we're gonna ask our lovely guest Nick if he can bounce a ping pong ball into a cup off the table. Okay? So we have plenty here. We're gonna need them. We're gonna need them probably. No, you'll be fine. I've done it. I'm not boasting, but I am not good at this sort of stuff, and I just did a fluke. It was crazy, but So. He's got up to 3 minutes. Now you need to tell us how long it's going to take him to get the ping pong ball and bounce it into the cup. So you can guess any time in minutes and seconds between 0 and 3, or if you don't think he's going to do it at all, just tell us DNF. That is a possibility. If there's a tie, then we will draw somebody at random and we'll tell you by the end of the show who has won. So we will be starting that very soon. Get your guesses in right now. I'll give you 5 more minutes to get a guess in, and then we'll call it and we'll do the game. Okay, so you've got 5 minutes to get a guess, and if you want to still get your questions in for Nick, there is still time. I know we're still getting plenty of questions in, so I'm going to choose another one now that Nick's had a little bit of a break from talking while I've been talking. So that's just a comment from somebody skiing in the middle of I think that's just a comment, skiing in the middle of marathon training. That's a bit...
Skiing in the middle of marathon training, it's allowed. Just make it your easy week.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, if you are skiing in the middle of your marathon training, take your running shoes with you because the hotel's probably got a treadmill, or I bet you can find some cross-country skiing trails to do some easy running. So don't give me this, I'm skiing all week so I can't possibly run. I know you can still do a little bit of running. You've got to offset the après skiing with some running, I'm afraid.
Yeah. So that's Adrian Atta. So yeah.
Adrian, get out there, do some running still, but it's your easy week.
Yes. So, a question. Charlie, you've talked a lot about recovery. So, Charlie Clarkston wants to know your post-running recovery routine.
Oh, it's really good. And I think this is where the sport's changed a lot over the last 20 years. I think, we were perhaps guilty many years ago. You finished your run, you'd have something to eat at some stage and crack on with life. And recovery happened, but if you look at the world of performance sport and the way world records have changed, I don't think training's changed that much in the last 20, 30 years. There's been some differences, but it's not changed that much. The big difference is now understanding your metrics and actually being better in the way you recover, and your body then adapts and improves. So if you think about training is a stimulus and it causes some damage to the muscles. That's fine at a cellular level. Through the right nutrition and through the right levels of rest, which can be your sleep and your active recovery as well, the body regenerates, the cells grow, and we get more red blood cells, capillarization, and we get improvements in your fitness. So recovery is actually more important to a point than the stimulus, which is the training. So as a coach, I look at the way you recover, and are you recovering from the training you're doing before you ever think about trying to progress and move on to the next level, because it's progressing gradually, then easy weeks, then progressing gradually, then easy week, that is going to do it for you. So, are you sleeping well? 7, 8, 9 hours a night sleep. Is the sleep good and continuous? You're not moving too much. It's not disturbed. There's some good deep phases of sleep. Is that enabling you to really recover well? Are you coming back from your runs and immediately having some recovery product of some kind, or eating really well as thinking about stretching, thinking about regular massages throughout the week, foam rolling most days, doing things that are going to speed up all of those nutrients getting around the body through the blood to improve and make your performance better. So try and eat within minutes, or take on recovery drink within minutes. Never leave it more than 20, 30 minutes, because already you're ruining the training sessions later in the week by doing that. So recovery is ongoing, it happens all the time, and never get hungry. Always snack and graze on good carbohydrate, good protein throughout the day, so that all of the time you're recovering and preparing for the next session.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Long answer, but it's so important.
Yeah. I mean, it just always comes back to recovery.
It does.
Every single question.
It does, but also, just take your resting heart rate, track your sleep and your sleep data. The likes of Polar can do that for you with all of their devices, so that's really important.
Yeah. So there's a chap called Tugba Hislan, and I'm sure I've pronounced that wrong, and I'm so sorry if I have. Tugba, so you want to know about preventing knee pains. This is something that it stopped me from running. I used to run, and I think it's true of a lot of runners out there. You're more susceptible to knee problems, aren't you? What
you
can
are.
you do?
3 to 5 minimum times your body weight comes up. The knees are very complicated anyway. The way we move and run, everyone's different. So the first thing to do is go and get a good gait analysis and get absolutely the right running shoe for you. So Tugbo, go and have a gait analysis with a running shop, check that's right. I would also go and see a very good physiotherapist and strength and conditioning coach, because most of us, our glutes and the muscles in the lower body, but particularly the glute area, they're not strong enough. We spend a lot of time sitting down rather than being strong. And if everything is really good in terms of your strength and conditioning, the amount of stress that the knees aren't placed under is much better, because you actually start to have muscles which are functioning correctly to hold you in the right running form and technique, and reducing some of the movements and the stresses that the knees will suffer. So good strength and conditioning from a strength and conditioning specialist. Focus on your glutes and other areas of the body, the right shoes, maybe flatter surfaces, only bring heels in when you're strong enough, or if you do use heels, just think about your running technique and posture as well all of the time. So forward lean, foot landing underneath you, up and light. So think about it, up and light, forward lean, foot underneath you, rather than hitting the ground heavy. Try to avoid heel striking if you can, more mid-foot striking would be better. Mm-hmm. All of those sort of things are going to reduce knee issues.
Yeah, so right running shoes, technique, that's all.
There's many, and also build your training gradually, not too much, too far, too soon, too often. Just build it gradually over the weeks. Maybe choose some trail running, some softer surfaces as well. Don't always go for the road or the treadmill.
Yeah. Okay, so 5 minutes ago, or probably more than that now, I've told you that we're taking our final guesses. We've got a competition running to win a Polar Vantage M, and we were asking you if you could tell us how long it's going to take, Nick, to bounce one of these ping pong balls into a cup that we have on the next table over there. So thank you guys for all your guesses. Some of you have been a bit mean and put a DNF.
That's not me. That's probably quite good.
Well, Nick, you said you haven't had a DNF for a little while now. So we're going to put you all out of your misery, and I'm going to give you that. You can put that wherever. You can decide where you need that to be. I'm just getting my timer on my phone so we can time you. You have up to 3 minutes. Now, Wills, you can't guess now because we've cut off guesses, okay? So
this is it?
Yeah, so this is it. This is the real deal. So I'm going to count you in. I'm going to time it. Got 3 minutes. So
3 minutes or I run out of balls to throw anyway?
Yeah.
Okay.
So 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, I'm not even anywhere near.
So if you were optimistic and you were saying it was 10 seconds, you've not won, sorry. Please don't go for a DNF. We've had quite a few DNFs. I believe in you, Nick.
Oh.
That grazed beside the cup. We're going to help you out as well, so I can see that Josh has a supply of more ping pong balls, so we can actually refill your jug for you if you need.
Oh! That went in and came out.
It was, yeah. Will the giveaway come with a pack of Haribo's, Charlie? Dunno, we'll see. We'll see if we have any. We might send them all out by
I need some now.
Yeah, you need some sugar for your concentration. Oh, that grazed the side as well. Okay.
So it's gone dark. We're going to keep
into
going.
Darkness.
We're back.
That's okay. No idea what happened there. I'm so sorry if you lost visuals. A bit of a technical glitch. I think if we get someone that's too good, we'll just make them do it in the dark. That would be good, wouldn't it?
Do you know what? The way I'm doing this, it wouldn't matter if it was in the dark or not.
No. So we're on 1:30, so you're up to half the time now.
Yeah, we're going to run out of balls there. Oh, this is nowhere.
So if you were on 148,
this is your moment.
They're done.
How many times have I hit the cup?
If you guess 2 minutes and below, you're done. You're not winning.
You're going to get someone do it first time. I just know it.
Stick to the running, Nick.
Yeah, thanks for that. I will.
That was Kerry, not me. Kerry Brown.
No, she's right. I know a Kerry Brown. That's Kerry from Fareham and Gosport. She's probably right.
So we're on 2:25. You have 30 seconds left now. The pressure is on.
There's no pressure. I know this is rubbish.
Your coaching is better than your ball chucking, says Michael. Look, you're not going to run out of
What
balls.
people can't see is the table is wonky, so it goes that way. You have to do the dip.
Yeah. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop.
Dinner.
Time is up. So I think we've had a few people who were very pessimistic and said DNF. So we're going to need to actually go into our answers now and choose a DNF at random. So, Josh, are you on the case with that?
I'm on the case. Give me 30 seconds.
So I wonder if there is another question we can answer while we wait for the winner. I know that we had another one that you hadn't answered, and it was about doing a relay marathon. Somebody's doing their very first relay marathon, and I am trying to find that comment so I can tell you who it is. But yeah.
But if you are, then enjoy it. They're fantastic events. Actually, a great way to learn about what a marathon spirit and the course is without actually running the whole distance. So it's a nice team event. Any of these relays are good fun. There's some great relays out there actually that go across the countryside as well. There's I think it's things like the Ragnar relay and so on, which are all brilliant. And you have teams of 12 people, and they're great fun. So relays are really nice. So they're really nice ones to do.
Yeah. Excellent. So how can he kind of prepare?
Well, it depends what length leg he's doing, because that might vary. Some people might be doing 10k, some people might be doing a half marathon leg or 5k. So ultimately, you are training for your distance. But I always say to people, like, if you're running 3 times a week, whether you're doing 5k, 10k, half marathon or marathon, think about your long run and think about making sure that's slower than race pace, and you build it over the weeks. Think about doing some threshold running each week, something which is perhaps more at sort of 75, 85% of your maximum heart rate, and maybe think about doing 1 pre-breakfast run a week if you can. Everything else you can layer on from there. All right?
All right, cool. So whoever put that comment in, some great advice for you there. I apologise, I've tried to find you in the comments, but there's so many comments coming in now. I just can't find your name. But good luck with your relay. And we have a winner. So thank you so much, Josh, for downloading all of the comments. As I said, we had so many DNFs, we had to choose one at random. And we have Jack Higgins. So congratulations, Jack.
Well,
you will be getting a Polar Vantage M. Let us know what you're going to be using it for in the comments. Are you training for an event? Let us know. But congratulations, we will be in touch with you to get your details and send that watch out to you.
Thanks for the faith in me, Jack, believing in me as a DNF.
So in future weeks, we're going to be getting all of our guests to do this. So they need to beat a DNF.
It's not a hard thing to do. I reckon you're going to get more DNS. That cup, it went in and it came out again. Unbelievable.
That doesn't count, it needs to stay in. Unbelievable. And I've done it. I know it can happen, and if I can do it, anyone can. So just thank you so much, Nick, for coming in, answering all of our running questions. We've got so many runners out there doing all these amazing things. Good luck to you all. It's going to be a great year, it sounds like. And just to let you know, next week we have a special show on Thursday rather than Friday, so make sure you're with us on Thursday, same time, 12:30, same place, the Wiggle Café. As you know, Thursday is going to be Valentine's Day, so we're going to be sharing our love of sport and our love of the outdoors. You can join in, you can actually send us your pictures, you can join our Facebook group. The link will be on our Facebook page to join our Facebook group. And just send us your pictures sharing the love of outdoors. It doesn't have to be with a significant other. It could be with your animals, your children, your friends. And we'll be sharing some of those on the show next week. And there might even be a prize in it for you. So check that out. We've got a very special guest coming in as well. So there's a brand new outdoor wear brand, which is perfect for sharing your love of the outdoors. It's called Fern. And we have actually one of the designers coming in to tell us a little bit more about the collection. There's down jackets, there's base layers, there's all sorts of really, really, really lovely stuff. I've seen some of it in the office, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Search our site, FOHN, and you'll find it, Fern. So tune in next week, share the love of the outdoors in our group. We'll see you again Thursday, and thanks again, Nick.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.